Welcome to Blood Snow, the podcast. This is Stephanie and Michelle. We are bringing you case studies of demonic deliverance, talking about the bride and the groom, and letting you know that you are washed white as snow by the blood of Jesus Christ. Hey, welcome. I am Stephanie Jordan.
And I'm Michelle Marioth, and welcome to the Blood Snow podcast.
Today we're going to talk about menopause. Ladies, it's not a demon.
It's not a demon.
You just need you some cream.
Progesterone. Some progesterone. You can't cast out menopause.
You cannot cast out menopause.
You gotta increase your progesterone and your estrogen. Get you a little sticker that you put on once a week, and then rub some topical medicinal
Your husband
cream.
Wishes it could be as easy as casting out a demon.
Listen, my husband, he says some stuff off the cuff a lot of times, and he said, "Baby, we can have another baby." And I said, "No, we can't have another baby. That's not happening." So that conversation kind of played in his head for a few days. He came to me and he was straight serious. He said, "We can't have another baby. We're in menopause." I said, "Oh, you're feeling that too, huh? Okay. Well, we're one, so you're right. We're in menopause."
That's right. That's right. If I had a man, he'd probably be living on the corner of a roof right now.
Right. That nagging woman.
Lie.
Well, so it's not talked about in the church, right? So when you're like Gen X, right? We're in our 40s approaching 50s. And so for those of us that are active in ministry, emotions can come into play very quickly if you don't keep that in check. And it's, you might take offense to something. Like the offense can happen so quickly because, honey, you're low on progesterone. Like that's, a feel-good hormone that you don't have any of now. That's gone. And there's nothing wrong with going to your doctor and getting that blood work done to help get you back on track. I mean, it's needed. And people don't want to talk about it.
I think that what you just said is such a perfect topic to talk about. So when you're in menopause and you're having all of these emotional roller coaster up and down sort of situations, then, oh my goodness gracious, like how do you manage that within the church, right? Because you can't just say, like, "Oh, I'm sorry that happened. And I didn't mean it," because now you've made a complete and total ass out of yourself.
Right. Right.
Because menopause got the best of you, and you really were not legitimately in your right mind at that moment.
Yeah.
And I think that's overlooked. It's a biological thing. It's not a spiritual issue. It's a legit biological change.
It is. It 100% is. And so what happens is, and this is really for the young ladies that may be tuning in, what happens is you go through the perimenopause for about 10 years. So that's when they say, it can last 10 to 15 years. You can go through it that long, the perimenopause. You're officially in menopause when you haven't had a cycle for 12 months, a consecutive 12 months.
Right.
So when you're on the other side of that, the menopause state is actually great. It's the peri where you're having all this stuff and the hormones and everything's getting jacked up and people think you need deliverance. And you don't. You need some cream.
Yes.
It's not that.
You need some cream.
You need some cream. And I can tell you where to get it. If you look up Better Health Naturally, you can get you some bioidentical progesterone cream. It's wonderful and it's very cost effective. So I recommend that for anyone that's struggling with crying spells, lashing out.
I've actually started using wild yam cream.
Yes. Well, so that progesterone cream has the wild yam in it.
Oh, cool.
So yes,
that's
wild
awesome.
yam does work.
It is making a difference. So I watched a TikTok actually, and this lady was talking about perimenopause, and she recommended the wild yam cream, and she said your hormones didn't get totally whacked out overnight. So you can't expect this cream to work overnight. She said it could take you up to a year to rebalance what. Okay, so I don't know about you, but I think I went into perimenopause probably as early as 42, 43.
Oh, I got you beat.
It was so mild that I didn't know it was happening. It hasn't been until the last 2 years where I'm 46, 48-ish that it's been like, oh, this is what's happening to me, right? So just even 2 years ago, I didn't know that I was already experiencing some perimenopausal. So if you're in your if you're like 40, you're going to start wild yam cream now.
Yes. I was 38 when I started, and you know how, right. And it started with the intense, severe brain fog. And this is the catalyst that sent me to go to the doctor and get the blood work and figure out what was wrong with me. I thought my driver's license had expired. So I looked at my driver's license and it had expired. So I called off work because I had to go get a new license because now it's expired and I've never had that done, so I didn't know what to do. So I called my husband and I told him, hey, I got to go to get my driver's license renewed because it expired. And he said, okay. So I go on down there. I get up to the counter at the BMV and I tell the lady, I said, ma'am, my license expired. And she's got my license. I handed it to her and she looks at it and she goes, oh, well, you've got another year. And I said, I know, it expired. Did you catch what yeah. And she said, ma'am, it doesn't expire till like 2017. So when she said that, I'm like, oh, well, what year is it? She's like,
what year is it?
It's 2016, right? So I started having those symptoms at 38. It was confirmed when I was 39 that put me to the doctor, right, to get everything checked out. So you can go as early as 35 from what they're saying.
Well, I became a widow at 37, so my brain pretty much shut off entirely after that.
Yeah.
So I wasn't really consciously aware of any over difference,
changes,
I guess I would say, until probably 5-6 years after that happened.
Yeah.
But in 2019, so yeah, he died in 2014 and it was 2019. So it wasn't 5 years, it was a little over 4 years that my body went into like this complete and total
shock.
Freak out.
Yeah.
Yes. And so I was already in my 40s, but I was early, like 42-ish. And it was very much like woly cannoli. Nothing is as it was, right?
Yeah.
So your brain started showing you that rapidly. I didn't have the same issues because I had trauma, but then my body really went into total and complete chaos. And but I still didn't know what was happening to me until really in the last 2 years. And now looking back, I can be like, oh. And it's okay. So I have to say this. Have you heard about the We Do Not Care Club?
I
Probably
think
not,
so.
because you don't social media.
Well, I think you sent it to me. I think I did, where it talks about like we don't care if we brush our hair or something because we're in menopause. Yeah. I've seen. Yeah.
Okay, so as funny as I think that is, I think it's totally antichrist, and I'm gonna tell you why.
I already know. Keep going.
Because with Christ, we have to care, right?
Right.
He calls us to care. And so the funny parts is yes, we don't care if we brush our hair. You know, we don't care if we're still in our PJs at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Like, we don't care if you can't find your math homework anymore. Like,
Sorry.
that's okay. So those are all legits. Like, we do not care things that are funny. But I think we have to be careful because that is where your mind goes with menopause, right? Is we don't care. I don't care if I just hurt your feelings. I don't care if you think I'm a jerk. I don't care if you think I'm stupid. Like, I don't care. And that really is how we feel. And you can't cast out biology.
That's so true. And there's still a responsibility to treat people kindly, even when you're on edge. So I will tell you,
Yes.
I was anointing myself like 20 times a day. I would anoint myself when I woke up. I'd anoint myself when I got in the car. I would anoint myself when I pulled into work parking lot. Like, God, I am like, help me to be kind, because people don't care. And you know what?
Yes.
Women don't talk about it. Women do not talk about it. And so I had a coworker, and I was sitting there, and just all of a sudden, hot flash. I'm typing, hot flash, just immediately. And this kid didn't say a word. He just took his hand and shoved his little desk fan over to me.
Oh.
And I said, thank you. And he goes, my mom's went through this. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, now I'm the old lady at work. Like, I used to be the young one that, I was giving my fan up to somebody. Now somebody's giving me their fan because their mom's been through it. It's like, oh Lord.
Been through it. I love it.
Yeah, I'm that old.
Okay, so I'm gonna describe what I think of hot flash feels like, and then I want to hear your description, okay? So when I explain to people what a hot flash feels like, how I explain it is it's like you've mowed an acre of yard in 100-degree heat in 3 seconds.
Yeah.
That's my description. So if they've never mowed a yard especially in Alabama summer, I'm sorry, you may not be able to understand what a hot flash feels like. But if you have, you know that you are on fire. And it comes from the inside, right? Like it's the craziest feeling, actually. How would you describe it?
I would describe it as you've just eaten 10 pounds of ghost peppers and you've pulled a bicycle out of an oven and now you're riding it through the pit of hell. That's how I would describe a hot flash.
Yes. That's really good too.
And it's like, as quick as it comes on, it does go away for me quickly. Like, I can remember that part, but yeah, it was horrible. Yeah. And also the night sweats.
Yes.
The night sweats were terrible.
Why is it that you think that the church does not approach this? I mean, not only, I have never seen a program for menopausal women. Have you heard about this thing? They called it the red tent. It was apparently like a Jewish tradition. Now this is internet knowledge, so this could totally be wrong, but it was called the red tent. And when you were menstruating, you were supposed to go to the red tent so that you were separate, right? Because it was unclean. And so the women, as they were isolated, basically. And I'm like, okay, so we need like perimenopausal islands that we can go to where we only have to deal with each other. And like, it's just known that you go to the perimenopausal island because you need to be put in time out, lady, because your attitude sucks, lady. And that sounds like a freaking amazing thing.
You there?
All right.
We're back.
So we're back. The internet froze up, and neither of us remember what we were talking about when it happened. So, yeah,
But
menopause.
right, I wanted to make sure that the church, right? The church. Why is it important for the church to kind of be aware of this
Yes.
situation with having women going through perimenopause and menopause, and what their
That's what we were
responsibility
talking about,
is?
separating. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. The island you had mentioned. Oh, there. Here we come. See, it's just thank you, Holy Spirit.
Crank the brain cells.
Yeah.
Crank the brain cells.
So, women are usually silent sufferers in church, especially women that are in leadership and in ministry. And so, I think that the church needs to do a better job of understanding perimenopause and kind of girding, the women that are going through it, because it does affect you emotionally, physically, and spiritually, right? So someone could be, thinking, oh, I'm not hearing God like I used to, almost like a numbness. Like, do I have a demon? No, you're going through perimenopause. You're going, you know what I mean? So it's like there needs to be that awareness because leaders, like women that are in leadership roles, like we're going through it. And so the church doesn't talk about it, doesn't discuss it. And there is a responsibility there. It can cause spiritual confusion, some self-condemnation, and even like, right, like, am I under attack? Do I need deliverance? No, you have hormone imbalance.
That's it. Paul was talking to perimenopausal women.
There you go.
He was like, y'all are nuts. You need to zip it.
Yeah.
Woo!
Keep your mouth shut in the church.
That's my theory. That's right.
But I seriously think
That's my
like
theory, and I'm sticking to it.
the church needs to do a better job of discerning between biological changes and spiritual oppression, right? Not default to condemnation or over spiritualization. You know what I mean? So how can the church respond? Well, acknowledge it. It's a real thing.
Yeah.
The ladies are going through this in your church. And then the second thing is offer support and some teaching. You can host workshops and small groups and have biblical encouragement and health education and, prayer, and you can speak to your body and command those hormones to get in balance. You know what I mean? Like it's like, like for teaching and offering support. And then the third thing is don't avoid over spiritualizing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing is not everything's a demon. Not everything's a spiritual attack. I think a lot of times we give the enemy way more credit, and his little minions, way more credit than what they deserve, I mean,
yes.
I've really thought about doing a book titled, It's Not You. It seriously is me. You know what I mean? It's not you. It's totally me.
It's totally me.
But I think what's lacking is those three things, and really encouraging wholeness, promoting, body, mind, and spiritual care all three together. You have your medical support, which is your, nutrition, exercise. Like that's a big thing when you're going through these symptoms that will help alleviate the symptoms. I love the sauna. I am a sauna girl. I would gladly sit in a sauna for a half hour than I'd rather do anything else. But that kind of becomes my sanctuary and I meditate and that. But, having that, like the medical support, having the emotional support with counseling and therapy, right? So when you lose your cool, right? And you're like, oh my gosh, I shouldn't have done that. I feel so horrible, blah, blah, blah. Well, why did it get to you that much? Let's really look at why were you so with that? Well, I'm 48. That makes sense. Tell me your age and I'll tell you what's wrong.
Yes. So that's so true because, like, I just went through 2 months worth of, like, seriously fighting depression. Like,
Yeah.
not wanting to function, not being able to stay awake during the day, crying when I was awake, especially for the first probably 5 or 6 hours of my day. I would just be weeping and felt weak, and my mind was just numb, right? But I was highly irritable. Everything made me mad. Everything got on my nerves. Everything felt overwhelming. And it legitimately took me 2 months of fighting through all of that to start feeling better. And I just, that's really hard when you're talking about 2 straight months of fighting
Yeah.
negative feelings and high irritability. That's really hard for everybody around you in close
Oh, yeah.
proximity. And I
Yeah.
think men need to be taught to have patience with their wives in this season, because it's not that they're doing anything to cause it. They legitimately can't help it. It's happening to them, not because of them, right?
Right. Right. Yeah. So I think like the main thing, going back to the church is making sure that the women understand that they're not broken, right? They're not
Yes.
broken during this thing. They're just kind of in a transition, right? You're
Yep.
transitioning into the next phase of your adult life, right? And when I think about that, then I'm like, well, that just means I'm getting closer to eternity. Time is not your
Heck
friend.
yeah. Yeah.
But, God is still with us, right? God is still with us even when our emotions or our body feel out of whack, right? And so this season is actually like changing perspective about it. So I know we're laughing and joking about it, but some women are really struggling, having a hard time with it. And like I said, my first few years until I got with the doctor and got things put in place, I was a wreck. But there's
Yeah.
this is a season that can be a gateway into greater wisdom, right? Spiritual depth, renewed
Yes.
purpose. Like it's a whole new level of your life that you're starting to
Yes.
transition into. So I think the church could do a lot better job of you know surrounding the women that are going through this, especially the women that are in leadership positions.
And I want to say just grace to you if you're listening to this and you've trashed your marriage because you were in menopause or perimenopause and you didn't even
Yeah,
know it.
yeah,
Your marriage might have been fragile coming into it, or you might have had a great marriage and then all of a sudden you lost your daggum freaking mind.
mm-hmm.
I've had friends that they've never fought with their husbands, and they message me and they're like, I think I might divorce them. And I'm like, whoa,
Whoa,
whoa, sister,
whoa,
whoa.
girl.
But you know what? There are a ton of women that will say something like that to their girlfriends, and then their girlfriends support them, and they're like, "Oh, you
Right?
should get rid of
Yeah,
him," and and start bashing and all of this sort of stuff. And it's like, whoa, whoa, no, 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 pause, right?
yeah,
Pause.
yeah.
And so that would be one of my main things in this season. If you are in perimenopause or menopause, you need
Mm-hmm.
to pause. Don't make big, big, big decisions unless you know that God is calling you to that space,
Yeah,
because your brain is not fully functioning on all of its cylinders.
yeah,
It's half asleep 90% of the time, and it might be fully asleep 8% of the rest of that 10%. Um, so like, have grace with yourself, right? If you did
yes,
screw things up in your life isn't over. God is a restorative God. He can repair things. He can fix things. There is still hope. Um, But if you are in a relationship and you feel like you are ready to divorce your man and you are late 40s, I'm going to say pause.
Yes,
Like,
absolutely.
unless there's physical, serious physical, mental, or emotional abuse. And the problem with emotional abuse right now is that you can't decipher it.
Right.
So I would say you need wise people that love you and your husband equally, not your best girlfriend that thinks your
Yeah.
husband is half of a jerk face because she just wants to love you all the time. You need people that love both of you equally to speak into that sort of situation. But it's definitely something that us as women, we are responsible for our actions, behaviors, and decisions while our brains and our bodies are messing with us. It does
Yeah.
not absolve our responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
But there's that space for grace, right? Is that things happen to us before we even know that it's happening
Mm-hmm.
to us. It just all of a sudden happens.
Yeah.
So, um, you know, it just grace. And the church needs to get involved. I think we're just the outspoken women generation, right? The generations before us were just quiet. Where this generation, we're loud, and so we talk about what's happening to us.
That's
But our
right.
grandmother's generation, our mom's generation, they just weren't talking.
No. No, they weren't. So I want to close with this. Perimenopause in the church is not just a health issue, everybody, pastors, leaders, okay? It's not just a health issue. It is a pastoral, spiritual, and communal issue, right? So when the church becomes a safe space for women in this season, right, it unlocks healing, strength, fruitfulness, continued fruitfulness for those who still have much more to offer. So
Yes.
we as a church, we need to do better. You know, we need to do a better job of providing that for women that are between the ages of 35. I would say even to 55. 35, you got
Yeah,
a
35
20-year
to
gap.
55, I think.
35
Yes,
to
yes,
55. If you've got
yes.
women in your church between those two ages, that age range, then yes, we need to be doing a better job. 100%.
Yes, I agree.
So that is our podcast
Yeah.
on perimenopause and menopause.
That's right. That's
And
right. You
if you're
probably could do a whole podcast
we
just
probably
on this.
could. Yeah. Yeah, it's a real thing. It's a real thing. Yeah.
We'll probably do a couple of episodes on it, to touch on different things that we're talking about. But we were talking about deliverance. And so we were like, oh my gosh, this needs to be talked about because sometimes people think that it's demonic oppression when it's just really biology is out
Yes.
of whack. You're a little wonky.
Yeah. All right. Well,
So yeah,
that concludes
I
it.
agree with you. Yes, I agree with you. And what you said and that ending, and I really hope that we see that begin to happen in the church. That space for women going through that.
Yeah.
Well, have a good day. Thanks for hanging out with us. We'll see you soon.
Bye.